are the top 5 rogue decks for June 2023? Don't big 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out. More awesome content. Number 1 over here is the prehistoric menace itself. Dinosaurs. Do. I'm a dinosaur. I mean, let's just be honest there. All right. So, what in the world does Dinosaur bring to this vast wasteland of, like, everything is viable.ness? Well, one, Misk is an amazing card. Let's call that what that is. You have a field spell that literally wins you your Sky Striker matchup, kind of free, actually. Once again, Sky Striker back in the format. That means that dinosaurs hand their opponent the little egg, and Sky Striker player, goes away. They spontaneously combust. It's just, it can't do anything. Well, they can normal summon a monster, try to excavate, to climb. It's hilarious, but that's just one free auto win button that you have here. I think that Dinosaur's overall presence in the metagame is going to be dependent on, obviously, matchups. And there are a lot of different decks that Dinosaur can run into that, man, this is such a cop-out answer. You have good matchups, you have bad matchups. I think right now, you can hit a streak of good record-winning matchups, and you can do well with this deck. Also, if you can resolve Scrap Package, if you don't see a Nibiru for most of the day, I think you can do pretty well with this deck, and that is really, really good. Ground Xeno, all the new Dinosaur Transcendrake stuff gave this deck some cool, really awesome lines of play. And I honestly do think here that, you pick up, mess around with these new lines of play. I think your deck actually will be really, really cool. So that's my 2 cents on Dinosaur at this point in time. I think that the deck is a very, very solid pickup. Next up is Gold Pride Anything. So this is actually interesting, because Gold Pride Punk was showing up as a very big rogue deck last format. Now, there were some variants that did play Gamma. Obviously, I mean, it's a free E-Telly target, right? You kind of take your free chicken nuggies where you get them with Gamma, or you did. And you don't really have that anymore. But we have seen the Gold Pride package showing up in some very interesting places, i.e. the Gate Guardian Gold Pride deck, where the build we did see did not play Ryoku in it, but to be honest with you, you could play Ryoku in the deck to lower life points and then, steal some stuff from your opponent. Trust me, it's an incredibly bad idea. We shouldn't even be talking about this. This should be in the wildcard sector here. But that's if we were to play the Gate Guardian. But the more consistent package with the deck is obviously going to be, hey, we can go ahead and implement this with Punk. We pay our life points with our Punk package. We kind of go down. We toggle through like Psychic M. It depends on what end board monsters you want to make. Obviously, you do have the fusion that you can make with the Gold Pride stuff for the interruption through the opponent's turn, which is a very nice flavor to add to the deck. But it is just that. It is a rogue competitor right now, and I think a lot of people are going to continue to look at this deck and go, is this better than some of the other options that you have for the rogue sector? Depends on your playstyle. Once again, a little bit more of a cop-out answer, but rogue is always about, do I enjoy the deck? Is there a chance that I can actually do well with it? And I do wholeheartedly think that there's some good hope for this, honestly. I just have to wait and see here with more innovation how things go. Next up is Drytron. So, Drytron makes the rogue list here. Why in the world is that? Strictly because Herald of Orange Light moved to 2. And that was like my biggest thing. This deck got a nice little hand trap back. Alright, so we lost Gamma, which, to be honest with you, I don't know how many of these variants actually gave 2 craps about, the little inclusion of that package, but be honest with you at this stage, Drytron getting the Herald of Orange Light back means that they now have an additional hand trap. My problem with Drytron is it's still Drytron at the end of the day. The Amorph Factor, skipping your opponent's main phase was literally like the best thing that you kind of had going for you. And if you don't exactly have that, then where do you kind of set with this deck? I still think that the deck is very, very good. Additional hand traps are good. I also still think that people have kind of forgotten how to play against Tron. The basic checklist to know if a deck's going to do well is, 1, does it have a decent matchup across the board? 2, has your opponent forgot how to play against your deck? And 3, do you have some sort of unique tech choice to kind of bring into, you know, the meta? The fact that Drytron has access to the list of every single ritual monster in the game means that you can actually do some incredibly interesting things out here. And don't underestimate once you start kind of getting into the ritual toolbox of things, because trust me when I say this, in the world of ritual monsters, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of things that can go very wrong or very right. It just depends. And Drytron's one of those decks that just really doesn't care. So we'll have to wait and see. I think that Herald did help out this deck at least a little bit. Next up is Flaunderies. You know, Flander has honestly kind of withstood the test of time. Now, I'm not saying that you can go pick up Flander right now and go win, you know, 8 regionals. No. You are going to have to work your butt off if you're trying to play Flander this format. I know that Yu-Gi-Oh! Players love their free chicken nuggies, but like, let's call this what this is at this point, all right? N-Pen is a stupid card, all right? Its design point is crazy. You also have Apex Avion as well, so you do get the chance to set up free negates. And I mean, honestly, your entire deck just plays the game during your opponent's turn. Like, call it what it is at this point. Like, it's not really fair. Oh boy, Robbie's out here saying the Flander's unfair in summer 2023. Yeah, it is. That's why it's a rogue pick, alright? Rogue decks are, they're going to be unfair. That's their entire life purpose, alright? They're there to exist in the format as a deterrent for the rest of the metagame. And it doesn't matter what they do is fair or not, because their entire job is to do something unique, which Flanders is normal summon, normal summon, normal summon, do their thing. I still think that Stormwinds would help out this deck immensely, but now you have to rely on N-Pen to do the job for you. And to be honest with you, it's kind of the same thing that Scareclaw's doing out here. You know, they deploy the Tri-Heart, they try to do their thing. It really leaves something to be desired. We'll have to wait and see if, you know, the prediction of this continuing to be worth mentioning in the Rogue category is there, but I think that Flander is definitely still one of those decks that's going to ruin people's days. Trust me, I've still seen people have massive cry fits to an N-Pen being summoned on the field. Like, I can't out this. Well, just get good. Like, just actually play cards to help you against N-Pen. Like, your opponent just wanted to play little penguins, little birds today. Like, don't be mad at them. They wanted to have fun. Next up is Marin says, now I was in a really unique place when I decided what I wanted to do with this deck, because this deck had a large amount of regional tops. Like, this was, and national tops, actually. Marin says proved to us that, you know, it can pull more tops out than, like, Dragon Link was doing last format. And that's saying something. I really debated on putting this deck in the top 10, just strictly based on Top's last format. But I'm going to leave Marincess in the Rogue category because, 1, I think it takes a very good player to pilot this deck. But Rob, you said that about Dragon Link. Yeah, well, Dragon Link's got more players that play it as opposed to Marincess. 2, if you get Kaiju'd, you lose. If you don't get Kaiju'd, well, congratulations. You are literally probably winning the game at that point. And then it just comes down to, did your opponent have an out for the Battle Ocean? I think that Battle Ocean is one of the best things that this deck has going for, obviously, like, multiple levels of protection. Aqua Argonaut's a fantastic card. I mean, you have a sub-draw package, too, for the sweet mother of, you know, whatever this deck wants to do down its combo line. And also, I mean, it does kind of lose to Nibiru at certain points, to be honest with you. But that's fine. I will say, though, that you do need to be aware of Marincess. Like, Marincess is, like, the top contender out of the Rogue pile, honestly, next to Dinosaur. And that's saying a lot, just strictly based on representation out of last format. So do with that info what you will. It's very, very, very interesting. That's for sure. So what do you think about the top 5 rogue picks? Robbie, my deck wasn't mentioned. There's so much in this format. Wait for the tier list if you haven't heard your deck. You guys have a good rest of your day, all right? Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.